what's up, everybody? Isaac here, Civil Engineering Academy. Excited to be with you on another podcast episode. Thanks for liking. Thanks for subscribing. Give these a share. Talk to your friends and your aunts and uncles, whoever you want to share this stuff with. We're excited to share another episode with you. Today, I'm excited to bring my brother Mark back on. We're going to talk about a 4-day work week. I keep screwing up and saying a 4-hour work week. We know that's not possible, but we want to talk about the 4-day work week and whether that's even an option for you as a civil engineer, what the trends are we headed that way, and really all the bits and pieces that go into that. Productivity, well-being, and a whole slew of other topics. So without further ado, let me bring my brother Mark back on, and let's chat about it right after this. Hey, I wanted to jump on real quick and let you know about a free resource we developed for you. You can find it at civilengineeringacademy.com/PE guide, and this will help you to jumpstart your studies for your PE exam. So if you're in the hunt and you're just thinking about the PE exam, this guide will help you get through the process of figuring out everything you need to do, from the PE exam's prerequisites that you got to figure out, the must-have materials that you're going to need for the exam, any approved calculators, what groups you should join, exam secrets, and much more. It's all in this guide that we've got developed for you. It's completely free. You can go check it out at civilengineeringacademy.com/PE guide. Just put in your email. We'll get you that information as soon as the email comes to your inbox. So go check it out, civilengineeringacademy.com/PE guide. All right. What is up, Mark?
Hey, yeah, it's always a good time. Glad to be back. And I like that 4-hour work week thing you're talking about. Let's do that.
Yeah, should we go to that one? I like that too. Everyone's goal is to get to 4 hours for the work week.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. But no, it's the 4-day work week, right? That we're talking about.
Yes, it's the 4-day work week that we're hearing the trend on. So
yeah,
we've kind of seen this published in different places. It's not just engineering. There's a host of other places that are maybe considering a 4-hour work week. Some are probably already doing it. I'm interested if anyone in our audience is doing it. If you are, drop us a comment or an email or something. Let us know if you are doing it and how you like it if you are. But why don't we just talk about it, get this thing going. What are you seeing out there in terms of actually doing a 4-hour or 4-day work week? There I go again.
Yeah. So I think all of this, Isaac, like all the other industries that you talked about that are kind of leaning towards this, is it was all born of the COVID era, right? Where people had to stay home, and then business was trying to get taken care of from home on Zoom meetings or team meetings or whatever. And it just created this, this realization with a lot of people that, a lot of my things that I do at work that I have to commute into the office every day to do, I can do that from home. Why can't I spend some more time at home and get some of the stuff done and maybe have a little bit more of a flexible schedule? And so I think that was the impetus behind it all. But I'm seeing a lot of that happen in the AEC industry, the architects, right, the engineers, and even some on the construction, not so much on the construction side, which is what I'm more directly involved with. But I do see it in architectural firms and structural engineering firms. I see it a lot where they have a lot more flexible schedules. They still have the office space, but their workers are able to get some things done from home that otherwise they were expected to be in the office to do.
I know in the industry I'm in, I definitely still see flexibility. Working from home, even though with COVID and trends that people may be working more in the office. Some firms have leaned way into working from home, which probably leads to just more flexibility anyway, in allowing you to choose, what schedule you're going to work. I know schedules I have seen, I guess what this looks like to me is I've seen schedules where you can choose an 8-hour workday, which is normal. You can do 9/9s where you have every other Friday off. And then some people are saying, well, why don't we just do 4 10s? and there's your 4-day work week. But I think what this trend is leaning towards is still holding to a 8-hour work day, but doing it in 4 days. Is that your understanding?
Yes, that's what I'm seeing more of. So the work week is still spread across the 5 days. It's just your hours that you spend don't have to be in, your butt doesn't have to be in a seat in your office. There's things that you can do remotely. And so, and there's pros and cons to that approach. And I've heard, both sides, of the argument. Some things work out well and some things not so well. And so, just every office is looking at not only the projects that they've got to get done and the demands of their clients, right? But they're also looking at the individuals that work for them. Some individuals, maybe have a little more family responsibility than others, or they have, something in their personal life restricts maybe how many hours they can spend in the office. And so they're a little more apt to work with those individuals and try to figure out a good working schedule for them.
So I don't know if I missed this or didn't catch it, but are you seeing that people are doing 4 days working 8 hours each day, or are they doing 4 days, 10 hours each day to still hit the hour?
I'm seeing that they're still required to get their 40 hours a week. It's just those 40 hours don't have to all be spent in the office. That's what I'm seeing. Yeah. So from what I can see, I wouldn't necessarily call it a 4-day work week. It's still 5. It's just your face doesn't have to be in the office. And
gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about, I guess, those positive and negatives. If we're going to a 4-day work week, how does that impact, I guess, productivity? How does that affect well-being of the individual?
Yeah, so I'm currently going through a design build project with a local structural engineering firm, and it's been a firm that's been around for a lot of years here in our local market, and they've done things traditionally like everybody else. They've had the 9-to-5 work schedule, Monday through Friday. And then after COVID, some of their younger engineers, I think is where it came from, was where they were, they got used to working at home a little bit more, and they had some very competent younger engineers that they wanted to keep on board, and they were making some specific demands that, hey, I saw that I could be productive. I can give you what I'm supposed to as far as deliverables working from home, right? I see the need to be in the office because the younger engineers that get into a design firm, they need to be mentored by the more senior guys, right? And that's tough to do over Zoom meeting. It just is. There's interactions that have to happen in person, and so once they understand that, they recognize that they do need some face time with those senior individuals so that they can keep learning. This firm that I'm working with has just been a lot more willing to accommodate people like that. I mean, this individual that's helping me on this project that I'm talking about, I mean, he's remotely working all over the place. He's from Europe and from all different places across the United States. He's still hitting his deadlines and still meeting his deliverables, right? But he's doing it all over the country. So, and he's a younger guy, and so they expect him to be in the office sometimes so that he can learn from the more senior guys. But I don't know. It's opened my eyes a little bit too, because this individual is still pretty effective, but he's working from all over the place,
Makes sense.
Yeah.
How do you see a 4-day work week affecting timelines, or even when you're putting together estimates on deliverables? how that would affect that.
Yeah. So I've seen that impact again, this project, this design build project that I'm currently working on. We're working with a client that's, he's pretty demanding. He knows what he wants. He wants it when he wants it, right? And his deliverable dates that he gives us, our deadlines, are pretty hard. And so there's not a lot of room for, we didn't make that date and that's going to slip. And, oh, you know what, with this, that didn't work. I mean, he's understandable as the design is getting developed and he makes material changes to the direction that the design needs to take. He wants another amenity or something in, material to the design that has to change. He's being accommodative that way, but he's paying the bills. And so those deadlines are they're hard deadlines. And so I've seen a few instances with the architectural firm that I'm working with where some of the individuals that are working out of the office are, I don't know, there's some family obligations that have come up and it's kind of pressed them for time, where, they're I don't know, they're not in the office where maybe they'd be buckled down, focused on the deliverables and trying to get things done, one at a time, boop, 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 going down their to-do list. Their to-do list kind of gets, I guess, accomplished a little more scattered, if that makes sense, because they're not focused, I think, all the time, a continuous, 8 hours during the day. Maybe they're focused on the task, 2 hours on Tuesday, and then Wednesday, Thursday, they get another 4 hours in, It's kind of sporadic, and it doesn't, and so sometimes these deadlines are missed by a little bit because of some of those things that are going on. Whereas I think if they were, like I say, sit down and focus on something in an office environment the whole time, I think they could probably churn out these deliverables a little bit more consistent. And that's kind of my opinion, what I've seen with this project that I'm working on. But so there's that problem that I see, is just the gap. You're working on a project and you create kind of gaps in your workflow because you're not in an office environment focused on that task at hand for continuous, long periods of time. It kind of gets more sporadic.
Yeah, I know, expectations can get set on both sides of the aisle. That's with your employer, as well as maybe a spouse or significant other. They get used to a certain schedule. And if you're working 4-day work weeks or you're working from home, sometimes expectations are there that, if you've set a 4-day work week, that you will have an extra day in there to have off, or there's flexibility for you to work varying hours. So that can be a challenge, I think, to meet deadlines if your employer has a specific deadline that they need to meet. So good point.
Yeah.
Have you seen any sort of technological increase or solutions to adjust for a 4-day work week, or are people still using the same tools? They're just using it in a different manner.
Yeah, from my perspective, I think the tools were all there already. I mean, everybody is, we're not using hard paper copies of project plans anymore. Everything is, digitized. You're either working with a CAD file, a Revit file, a PDF file, right? Any renderings or anything of projects they're getting communicated in those formats, and those are all, you can send those over whatever format you choose. And so there's a lot of project management software in the market that's used that help manage workflow for projects, and they help manage it from design, like from concept and the design stage all the way through completion, all the way through the project management side of things. So I don't know, the technology I think is already there.
Yeah.
It's, because everybody was using that in their offices, but now it's just translating that into home use.
I agree.
So I don't see a big technological change to make all this happen. I don't see that. I think all the tools were pretty much there.
Have you heard about any employees or employers where they've implemented this and they've maybe tried it as a trial period to check the feasibility of it, or have people just leaned into it all the way? I'll let you speak from maybe your perspective and experience, but I can also share some thoughts too on this.
Yeah, it depends on the firm, but of course, everybody during COVID kind of leaned into it all the way, because there wasn't a lot of choice. And then as the COVID restrictions have been reduced and those mandates have been canceled. I don't know. I've seen some firms where it's just like, all right, everybody get back in the office and let's get back to work, and other ones like that I've mentioned where they're starting to see, and it's particularly with the younger engineers that have made these demands that, hey, I can see that I can still get the same amount of work done, but I can be a little bit more flexible. It's just dependent on the firm. I think some of the firms have seen more of the negatives where they're not getting the interaction between each other like they want. And so they're making at least some FaceTime is got to happen. It's got to be mandatory. But I see most firms now, it's kind of a half and half thing. They're in the office sometimes and sometimes they're not. It's just, we have to have that interpersonal interaction. We have to have that sometimes, but you don't have to get everything done in the office all the time, but
Yeah.
you got to meet your deadlines.
I work in the utility world, and if you're working for a utility or maybe a bigger outfit, I think there's a lot of pushback to get people and employees back into the workplace, basically because of collaboration, because they like people readily there that they can go ask questions to, and there's a different energy in the office, obviously, if people are just there. I also think for younger employees, there's kind of like these water cooler moments where if somebody's teaching something or someone else has a question, you're learning from that experience too, even though maybe it's not your question or problem, you're still learning something. Where if something's always done on Teams, you're not making another call to somebody so they can listen in. You've missed that chance. So in my world, in the utility world, they've gone back and forth all the time on what their policy is, whether it's strictly working from the office or allowing people the flexibility to go all in on working from home. And then they've come back and they've made adjustments now to do a structured hybrid, allowing people to work from home on like Monday, Friday, but coming into the office Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, so they can have that interaction. So, I mean, that's the utility world. I'm sure there's a lot of different utilities that do different things, and probably bigger firms or bigger engineering firms that maybe are doing something similar to that. I don't know. But I do see the consulting side. Many do lean in on offering a hybrid option or full-time remote. But there's like different modes of remote. There's remote, which is like you can work anywhere in the country, right? Let's say your home office is in Phoenix, Arizona or whatever, but you could live anywhere to work remote. But a lot of firms say, well, you can work remote, but you have to live within so many miles of the office. So anyway, I think there's some give and take there. And I think employers are figuring out adjustments to this flexibility that employees are.
But to actually, I mean, an organization, an enterprise, a company, they have to build a some kind of sense of a team, of everybody belonging to an organization, and everybody's trying to achieve a common goal of making that organization successful. And to be able to do that so that people feel like they belong, they like play a key role in that organization to help it be successful, there has to be some interpersonal like relationships there. There has to be some personal face-to-face exchanges. That I don't think that stuff can develop on a Zoom meeting. It's just, they have to be in person for a lot of that stuff. So my opinion is we're it's gonna, the future of a work week is going to change for sure, but I think that the future has to have it's got to be some kind of a hybrid, right? There's going to be more flexibility there, but to really have those interpersonal relationships that have to develop in an organization, there has to be a kind of a balance like you're talking about. There's got to be a happy medium, or I don't think it'll work, because your organization will just it'll lose its identity, and it won't, everybody that's working for you won't identify as a key member of your team.
Well, maybe lastly, let's talk about maybe the legality of this or bumps in the road. I can see with a 4-day work week, if you're taking vacation, maybe that gets a little tricky. Holidays might be a little tricky. Legally, you're probably still need to work 40 hours to get all the benefits and things of that nature. Do you see any other hiccups if people do go to a 4-hour work week, or that's an option from a regulatory or legal or
a 4-day work week?
I mean, a 4-day, 4-hour. There you go. It's that book. It's that
I
Tim
know.
Fair.
I know where your mind is. No, I mean, the legal ramifications. I mean, legally, employers are obligated, right, to offer a certain level of benefits, right? For, at least I think 30 hours a week is kind of the minimum before you.
Yeah, it's like 30 hours to get benefits.
To get your regular benefits, your health care and 401k and all that stuff, the medical benefits. But I see that as being kind of the key. Now, I don't know. There's older individuals though too, Isaac, that we haven't brought up, that maybe are moving towards retirement. That I don't know. Maybe they don't want to be fully retired, but they're willing to work more on a part-time basis, and they're individuals that maybe don't necessarily need all the benefits that come with full-time employment, but they can get plugged into one of these roles, working somewhat remotely, on a part-time basis, right? Have you seen any of that working?
Yeah, I see that a lot. A lot of guys getting close to retirement or wanting to retire or do retire, and they come back and work, whatever hours they want, because, as a consultant, the value of that company is its employees. And if you can get a senior guy that knows what he's doing, then great, bring him on and work whatever hours he wants to work, because he's just going to help either boost your employees, the younger engineers, you'll have a better product. So, and it allows them to have the flexibility to work what they want, earn a little extra money. They want to go on a vacation. Maybe that's why they're working. Who knows? But yeah, I definitely have seen that. I've also seen people fully retire and come back for, let's say for a utility, come back as a consultant, with a consultant, and maybe work in-house as a consultant back for the company they've worked for forever. So yeah, the trend today is flexibility. I think that's what engineers want at the end of the day. They want a flexible schedule. They want a flexible work week. They want a company that will work with them and their family and the demands that are placed on them. So I kind of just think that's what this all trends to. I don't know. So that's my thoughts. Mark, what do you think? Any
No,
last second thoughts?
I think you're right. I think that's where it's trending. We definitely, there were some things that got realized, that got identified during the COVID shutdown. It's just people realize that, holy smokes, I'm maybe wasting a lot of time commuting into the office that I just don't have to do it, anymore, or whatever. But there is those challenges to that flexible schedule, those interpersonal relationships that we're talking about developing. So I really think that's the challenge, is for every organization to find that balance, because not everybody's going to have the same balance point. But that's going to be the challenge, is to kind of assess your long-term viability, right, of your policy with remote working and having a remote workforce, with, that interpersonal relationships that you have to keep your organization identity intact, and everybody's on the same page and working towards the same goals. Where is that balance? Where is that point on the spectrum? I think every organization is going to have to contend with that and find it, because the workforce that's, especially the younger generation that's just coming out of school and looking for opportunities and places to work, that's something that's a lot more attractive to them when they find out that they can have a flexible schedule that's, maybe going to give them a little bit better work-life balance than a firm that just demands that they're in the office all the time. But that's the challenge, is you got to find that balance.
So, yeah, and work with your employees. So don't be hard-nosed about it. So
right.
Awesome. Well, I will add this plug, I guess, at the end. We do know a couple recruiters out there as we do these podcasts. If anybody is looking for more flexibility in their work life, shoot me an email and I can get you lined up probably with a good recruiter that can help you find a position that aligns with the flexibility that you do want in your workplace. So anyway, Mark, thanks for joining me today. Always a pleasure.
You bet. Love it. Hopefully you keep inviting me on. Yeah,
Yeah, man. Well, I'm trying to make you famous. We'll see if this works.
Yeah.
Thanks for the 100 people that listen to us.
Right.
Just kidding.
All
right. Well, have a good day. We will talk to you in a future episode.
Okay, we'll see you.
Okay, bye.